the questionable get rich quick scheme that actually works. Sorry about the music in the background in case you guys can hear that. But over the last few years, I've tried everything under the sun, right? I've done the drop shipping, I've done reselling. Don't even get me started on day trading. Bro, if you're thinking about day trading, just stop now. Just wrap it up. But anyway, for some proof of concept of the business I run now, here's yesterday the Zelle payments I received. 360, then 120, then 460, ignore this one. So it comes out to $940 for my remote plumbing company. Considering the fact that I didn't actually do any plumbing, this is a pretty good payday. Now, I've called this business model drop servicing in the past. I've called it service arbitrage, but the most accurate name is local search dominance. So what that means is that we're dominating the local search queries for service businesses. For someone who's looking up something like a plumber near me or car detailer near me, we want our profile to dominate everyone else's and be within that top three, right? So here we have a sad contractor. Maybe he's a plumber, maybe he's an electrician, maybe he's just a handyman, but at the end of the day, this man does not have enough leads, he's not getting enough calls, and he's not feeling great. But the thing is, he doesn't understand SEO, he doesn't know what a Google business profile is, and he thinks it's too complicated and he just doesn't have time for it. So that's where we come in with our Google business profile. Now, essentially what a Google business profile is, anyone can list one on Google for free, nothing up front, no subscription, is totally free to list, and it's a way to promote your business through Google organically. There's the sponsored results that show up at the top, but I think most people scroll down to organic, and that's where we're running ours. So the example I have here is just a random one, Painter NYC, and you can see a bunch of businesses pop up. What I want you guys to take a look at in this random example, just quickly, we'll hop into this more in other videos, but the fact that the ranking system is pretty sophisticated in the sense that it's not simply just quantity of reviews, right? So you'll see the number one business here has 126 reviews, which is half the amount that number 3 and 4 has. And this guy also doesn't even have a physical location. So if I had to guess, there's a number of metrics that go into it, but for him specifically, he almost definitely has better quality reviews. He has a better search engine optimized website, better SEO profile. Everything is optimized. But yeah, another important point to mention is the fact that the first position that shows up gets about 40% of the clicks, and then positions 2 and 3 respectively get 19% and 10%, which leaves all the other businesses that you click on here with only 30% of the traffic. So again, our goal is to get our business to this top number 1 spot right here. So I'm going to run through with you guys the calls I got on my call rail for April and then in the last 30 days. So looking at the last 30 days, we got 316 calls from May 19th to June 17th. Let's say about 170 of those calls were marketing. So that leaves us with about 150 legitimate plumbing calls at a 50% conversion rate with $800 average ticket price. And then my 30% split, that came out to around 18K. Now, in reality, I made, I think it was more 16.5K. That's because not every single job I take 30%. Depending on the ticket price, I negotiate with my plumbers for the percent that I take. But what this comes out to is about $1,000 to $3,000 per profile, and the 150 calls a day comes out to about only 1.7 calls per day, which when you think about it is totally realistic. It's not some outlandish number I'm selling you. This is just the reality of how lucrative it can be. So these are just the example of how many I have right now. These are all 12 I have up right now, just all over northern New Jersey. And then going into how you actually have to pick the locations, the best course of action would be to start with just 3 to 5, not the 12 that I have, because they take a long time to rank, right? So each one of these profiles has well over 50 reviews, bare minimum, right? So if you start with 3 to 5, you can start stacking 50 reviews, 50 reviews, 50 reviews, and then you can start getting ranking one by one. But if you do 12 and you're gradually getting all of them up, you won't have anything ranking for months, honestly, because it takes a long time to get the reviews. So as far as the profile goes, no overlapping Google profiles. They should all be at least 7 to 10 miles away. And then the locations which you're picking them is very important. This is honestly one of the most important things, is that the location where you're putting your business profile must have high search volume for the keywords that you want to rank for, right? So you want to look on a platform like SEMrush, for example, which allows you to check search traffic for different terms. So something like plumber near me, you'd want to see have a certain number of keywords for you to deem it worthy to put your location there. So that's for picking locations. Now the next step is picking your field or your industry or the niche, whatever you want to call it. Now this is going to be any physical service or home service. So something like plumbing or roofing or any type of cleaning, whether that's car detailing or residential cleaning, stuff like this. Could be duct cleaning, anything. Now you want to weigh the volume and the average ticket amount. So if it's something like cleaning, you're going to have a higher volume, but you're going to have a lower ticket amount. And then for something like plumbing, it's pretty high ticket, but people don't have plumbing issues very often. Maybe once every 6 months, conservatively, someone has a plumbing issue, right? But people do car detailing maybe bi-weekly. So it comes down to what you think works best for you and what you're interested in. For me, I'd rather do high ticket and answer the phone less, so that's why I went with plumbing. So for a high ticket niche, you're going to want to pick an area with 400 per month searches. And then if it's something lower ticket, you want to aim for at least 700 searches per month. That's just like a general rule of thumb you want to follow to make sure you're not putting up a dead profile. Now, once you have your location picked out and you have your industry you want to work in, now it's time to start stacking up reviews. Now, you got to get the reviews any way possible, right? There's a couple of methods I can tell you guys to avoid. Like, obviously, don't stack them up on your own account. You just can't pile them up on your own phone. It has to be different devices. And yeah, the reality of the situation is that all of your competition and all the profiles that are listed are getting their reviews inauthentically, and you have to compete with it somehow, especially if you're starting out with zero. You're not going to have any legitimate customers to review your profile. So you have to get some people to review your profile to start with. So you're going to stack up reviews, and then it's time to optimize the Google Business Profile. I'll make another video going into that. I'll make a full video diving in depth for it, but fill out all the services, the timing, all the descriptions, SEO optimize everything. And then it's time to start answering the phone. So the calls will be piling in, but now that you're getting them, you have to have a contractor to fulfill the work, right? So the next step is finding a contractor. Now, the best way to do it is Facebook Marketplace. You can just look up plumbers or whatever you need, electricians, roofers, find them on Facebook Marketplace. Another amazing method that I found is posting in Facebook groups. So there's a bunch of, especially for New Jersey, a bunch of contracting groups, NJ contractors, ton of these groups. I post something like, hey, looking for available plumbers, blah, blah, blah. And then, you have a phone chat with them, see what kind of tools they have. You want to personally vet them to make sure you're not hiring a shit plumber. I can go into a whole nother video on hiring a shit plumber. Definitely not worth it. In my experience, I've tried hiring bottom of the barrel plumbers so I can charge a higher percentage split. But what happens with that is that they go and they fuck up the job, right? And then you're left with a 1-star review in your profile. So that's definitely not the way to go. But you're going to want to negotiate with your contractor the split. Many contractors are open to doing this work. You guys might think, wow, there's no fucking way they're going to give up 40% of their money just for the lead. But you'd be surprised. The reality is that a lot of plumbing companies, the company takes over 50%. So the plumber actually gets less than half of the profit from the job. So you're offering a good deal to someone who doesn't have much work. What I do with my plumber is 70-30 because he's amazing, honestly. But here's an example of one of my profiles. I blocked out the name, but you can see it's in Jersey City. I'm ranking first, manage the profile. You see we're all very similar reviews, but my profile is just optimized better than theirs, so I'm ranking first. But yeah, it's a pretty simple business model. I have a little diagram here we can look at. The better Google ranking is, the more calls you get, the more jobs you complete. And then when you complete jobs, as long as the contractor does a good job, you can ask the customer to leave a review on your profile, and your reputation gets stronger and stronger. Right? So that's kind of how it snowballs. Like, a lot of the reviews on my profile are, they're not genuine, but we've been stacking up a lot more and more authentic ones recently. Maybe across all 12 profiles, I get a few legitimate per week, maybe five real reviews per week. But yeah, it's a simple business model. It's great if you have little capital to start up with, because all you really need is the platforms you have to pay for, which is a platform for the phone, and then you need a platform to host your website, And that's about it. I think I pay for this call tracking website. Now I'm paying something like $85 a month, but it starts at 50. And then the website I think was $50 one time on Hostinger. But yeah, so moving forward, the next steps are just to keep launching more and more profiles and keep stacking reviews. And that's how you scale this business up to well over 15K a month.